I think it's been a strong point of Porchlight that we pivot very easily when things are thrown at us. It's one of those things that during COVID, we were able to do things that maybe we wouldn't have had an opportunity or even the bandwidth to do while we were in regular performance, but it busted open this whole opportunity, starting with a piece that we did called Broadway by the Decade. And then we created the Sondheim 90 Roundtable and coming up with WPMT, classic musicals from the golden age of radio. So, it ended up being the type of thing that showed that Porchlight really can work well when it's responding. I mean, there's still room to go back and continue on with WPMT. There's still room to be able to take maybe a different composer other than Jerry. I have to say, you could be Jerry Herman, it could be Andrew and Ed, it could be any number of people, and do, a focus on them like this.
Well, that's what we do, right? We take the time to take audiences on a deep dive, the kind of like fleshing out of the programming that you just won't find anywhere else other than at Porchlight, Chicago's home for music theater.
Well, that's why people come, because it's not just going to see the show and then leaving.
Right.
It's about learning something. It's about you leave a little bit smarter than you walked in the door with. There's a lot of compelling questions, but also it could be a show going back to the 1940s with Pal Joey. It could be something that was just recently on Broadway, but we treat all of it as part of a whole, which is American musical, and how it all relates to each other. So during the period of your being the executive director of the company, aside from the change of going to the Ruth Page Center, what would be just a couple of the highlights that you would say? This was maybe a production, or this was a gala that we had, or this was an event that we had, or some kind of a gesture that Porchlight made that you're going to go, these are like highlight moments for me.
The move to the Ruth Page was transformational. I think we had a lot of, and that really took us into a different echelon of producing, right? I mean, just we started to do bigger shows, things that were much more well-known. I think, we went in there, and the first show we produced there was Billy Elliot, which had a company of 35
actors, more than that backstage.
Right. So that was a huge accomplishment. Certainly having people like Ife Butler and Hollis Resnick grace the stage have taken us into a new realm. And most recently, Sunday in the Park with George, you know how I felt about that. I sat there in the box and cried through 2 performances. It was just
Megan Murphy.
And Megan Murphy, so many great artists that we've worked with for a long time, or that are new to Porchlight.
So with your personal decision to move on, what do you see as the future for the company in terms of the direction it's going and the needs for the company, for the person who's going to be coming after you?
I think what's exciting about me leaving Porchlight is it's the first time in 30 years that a member of the founding group doesn't have an official role on the staff or the board. Now, people might say, why is that exciting? But that means sustainability. Continue to grow the leadership, the audience base, the programming, and continue to solidify itself as one of the legacy theaters in Chicago. I always say that Chicago deserves its own music theater, and that is Porchlight. Thank you so much for watching this video series on Porchlight's history. We are so proud and honored to have reached our 30th anniversary season, and we couldn't have done it without you. You have been there for every accomplishment and every challenge, and we can't thank you enough. Now, as we look toward the next 30 years of Porchlight, we need your support more than ever. Please consider a gift that is meaningful to you. Every dollar you donate will go to support our youth education programming, our award-winning productions, and our free community events. Thank you so much.